We're solving functions here. We're evaluating them. Our first one tells us to input the -6 into the function. So I like to make what I call a skeleton. Wherever, in this case, I have an X, that's the letter right here, so that's what gets replaced. Wherever I see an X, I put parentheses there, and then it's a little bit easier to start plugging things in, especially when you have multi-parts. In this case, it's not too bad, it's just the -6. So wherever I see the parentheses, I plug in the -6. So this now becomes g sub -6 is equal to 3 times -6 plus 5. The order of operations, in this case, we want to do multiply before we do add. So nothing changes over here, and we have 3 times -6 is -18 plus 5. A negative and a positive, when you're adding them, that means we'll subtract. Since there's one negative number, this becomes -13. The sign goes with the larger number. All right, next one is f of 6 is what we're plugging in to this function machine. So 6 is what gets plugged into it. And once again, I like doing my skeleton. F parentheses equals 4, parentheses squared minus 7, parentheses plus 12. Now, wherever I see parentheses, what do I plug in those parentheses? The 6. So this now tells us f of 6 is equal to 4 times 6 squared minus 7 times 6 plus 12. Order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses. All the parentheses are simplified already. Excuse is the exponent, so the exponents go next. I can also take care of this multiply because it's separated by the plus or minus sign. That means it's a separate term. So if I wanted to be a little bit more streamlined, the steps I could do is 6 times 6 is 36. Because there's a minus sign there, -7 times 6 is -42 plus 12. Next, I'm going to go ahead and multiply comes before addition and subtraction. So 4 times 36, I have my calculator right here. So 4 times 36 is 144. It's separated by that minus sign again, so that means I can combine these two without problem. -42 plus 12 is 30 on the negative side. And then 144 minus 30 is 114. The last one is I'm plugging in the 3 into the function machine. And it says also to round to the nearest thousandths. So we'll go ahead and deal with that when we get there. But there's my input. I'm plugging in 3 into wherever I see the X. So here's my little skeleton again. Square root of what I'm plugging in, minus 18 all over 4. So this is kind of like order of operations when you're plugging these numbers in. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug this straight away. So there's my 3 wherever I see parentheses. So that means my f of 3 is equal to. Now, can you go in and divide that 18 by 4? Well, it says the whole top is divided by 4. So the only way I could do it is if I did that one and that one. Be careful. It's a lot easier just to use that as like a separation, so I'll do the top first. The square root of 3, that's irrational, so it goes on forever. The square root of 3 is equal to, as a decimal, 1.7320 ... One of the rules in math is you only round at the end. You round your answer. You don't round inside when you're doing the math. So I have this number, it's in my calculator, minus 18 all over 4. So this top is what's kind of got separated, so that's what I'll go ahead and combine. So this number minus 18 is equal to negative 16.26794 ... divided by 4. And then I'll go ahead and divide by 4. And I get negative 4.06667 ... Now, I'm told to round to the nearest thousandths. So notice if I had rounded somewhere in here, it would have affected the rest of the answer. One of the unspoken rules in math is you only round at the end. You round when you're done completing all your calculations. Otherwise, it's going to affect it somewhere along the line. Only round at the end. So I'm looking at the thousandths place. Here's the tenths, here's the hundredths, here's the thousandths. So that's the one I focus on. That's the one that I'm kind of rounding. To do that, I have to go to the next number. So I'm going to look at that one. But this is the one that I'm kind of focused on. I have to look at the one behind it to round it. Back to our old rounding skills. So this now equals negative 4.06. And this now becomes a 7. And I should have changed this right here. Since I've rounded, we show that we've rounded by having the approximate equal sign. Otherwise, everything else is totally equal.